Should you allow residents to do rent in lieu of the security deposit? Today on the Landlord Coach Daily Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily Show. My name is Mark Dolfini, your host and Landlord Coach. It is good to see you. So today we're going to be talking about should you allow residents to do work in place of security deposit. I used to do this a lot back in the early days when I was just getting started and making a lot of mistakes and didn't know any better. So you probably already know where I'm going with this because I think this is never a good idea. I can't actually think of any time it's actually worked out because there's a couple reasons why it doesn't work out just from the basis of like how people value things, and we're going to talk about that tonight. So generally, if you're not familiar with this or you're thinking about doing this, especially this is true if you've got a proper. Oh yeah, by the way, look how fancy I am with my new on the air sign. Isn't that cool? Yeah, my bride helped pick that out for me, so thanks, Jenny Poo, appreciate that. So anyway, I'm getting a thumbs up, thank you. So this is generally how it goes when, if you've got a property that's vacant and maybe you haven't had all the time to get to the property and get it all fixed up, get it all cleaned up. So in desperation, you just get it on the market as quick as you possibly can because it's showable, right? And the property being showable means that it's not horrible, but ideally you're going to be doing some work until the property can get you, till you get a commitment from somebody. Totally get it, that's how it works, and sometimes we still have to do that because if properties are turning really quickly and it's just the nature of it. I get it. But invariably you will have somebody that reaches out to you and says, hey, can I do cleaning instead of paying the security deposit, or can I do work in lieu of the security deposit? So I'm going to say this up front for those of you who don't like to watch the whole videos. I'm just going to give you the lesson, give you the end of the book first. Get used to saying this. That's great, but I cannot buy bread with your labor, which is true because I have bills to pay and I can't pay my bills with their labor. So I'm giving you the end of the book first, but there's a multitude of reasons as to why this doesn't work out. First and foremost, they're taking the property pretty much as is, okay? With the expectation that you're going to get the property back in clean condition when they move out. Okay, so keep in mind, they're supposed to be doing something of value for you in advance of them moving in, and then with the expectation of them leaving the property in the same condition as when it was cleaned, right? That's generally how that would work. And they would then get the value for their security deposit. How it generally works is they would move in, they clean it to a certain level, and then, which is, again, that is very subjective, right? So they're taking the property as is. They're going to say they cleaned it, and what if they said, well, I did $1,000 worth of cleaning and the security deposit was only $800, right? Are you seeing the disconnect already? And that can get real tricky really quick. So if the cleaning, so now they're moving out. So what if now that they're expecting after they move out, and let's say that they did clean it, now are they expecting $1,000 back from the security deposit, right? You see that where this can already automatically go sideways. Another thing that I often hear is, can we do work on the property? And there are some people that are handy, and there are some people who are not. And there are some people who think they're handy, and some people who know not to touch tools because they're just not good at that. And there's some people who will swear to God that they've built every house in the Midwest, and they don't even know which end of a hammer to hold, and everything in between. So the problem with that is, especially if it's related to doing work on the property, like they're going to paint or they're going to do whatever, the issues that I ran into there was that quality is a very subjective thing. And one of the problems that I had, I used to provide the paint. This is way, way back. If they wanted to paint certain rooms, I'd say, I'll tell you what, I'll buy the paint for you and you can go ahead and do the work on the property. And they would paint it. Now, for those of you who are good at painting, you understand you got to cut in around the top. You can cut in any number of ways, tape it off. You can use it with do it with a brush or whatever. But generally, you don't try to cut it in with a roller, right? Like a regular roller. And what they would do is they would get as close as they possibly could, and every now and again they would bump the ceiling. Well, for those of you who've ever tried to paint a ceiling, there's no touching that up. It looks horrible, especially if they're painting it like a dark color. And, so every now and again I would run in, I would see like a blue bump against the ceiling, and there's really no fixing that except to paint the entire ceiling to make it look right. I mean, you could try to fade it in, but it just never looks right again. And that's a problem because now everything, or they get paint everywhere else, including the trim and the carpet and the doors and everything else. I had one time, I've told this story in the past, but one time I went into a property and I allowed them to paint the room, and they wanted to paint the room black. And I thought, well, and they were kind of a gothy type, couple anyway. And I was like, okay, I get it. They want to do, and they were young. And they did. They painted everything black. Everything black. The door, the handle, the carpet, the ceiling, the windows, everything. It was like I walked out, I felt like I was in space. And I was like, what in God's name? And the floor was crunchy. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And they were already gone, and that literally took like 17 layers of coat of primer just to get it back to a neutral color enough to paint it, some color that was not black. And my fault, again, this is back in my early days when I really didn't know any better. So anyway, these are the sorts of problems that you're going to run into. And again, it also runs into expectations when they move out, because the expectations are that, I mean, if you think about it, that they have moved into a property. Now, they're not going to remember, and this has never happened in my case, they're not going to remember that they moved into the property with the agreement that you are going to, that they were to provide the value of the security deposit, and that the cleaning was to be done by them. Almost invariably, with a few exceptions, I will say there actually are a few exceptions on this, that the people who moved out remembered, oh yeah, that's right, we moved in and that was our agreement that I was going to clean up when I took possession. Almost all the time, it was like, yeah, we moved in and this place was horrible. I'm like, yeah, it was horrible because you agreed to clean it in lieu of security deposit. Now you're moving it out, and you're moving out. And it's horrible. It's even worse, right? So I 100% stopped doing that. Once I recognized that this was just a lesson in aggravation for both sides. I don't expect, if I go into a restaurant, I don't expect to go in and cook my own food and clean my own dishes, right? So it's the same type of thing, and I'm not going to have a great experience. That's what I'm thinking about when I want to turn over a finished product to someone. I want to turn over a finished product. Sometimes we mess up still. Sometimes, especially back in the days when I was still doing it myself, there may have been a room that I thought got painted and didn't, right? So as a result, that happens. I messed up, right? That's why I started doing move-in videos and move-out videos to check the status and the quality of the product that's being turned over. And since I don't do many of the showings and many of the walkthroughs anymore, I can view those videos, and it establishes a base standard for that. So that way, when the residents eventually move on, we have a base standard video to watch and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, the cleaning didn't get quite done. Yeah, we messed that up a little bit, right? It gives us an opportunity to take ownership of it. Or when they try to move out and say, no, we didn't get a refrigerator when we moved in. Pretty sure there was one there because there's one in the video, right? Stuff like that does happen. So, and especially for those of you property managers that watch this show, I know there's a few of you, that it establishes a base, it's just an arm's length transaction, so the owner of the property doesn't try to hold the residents unfairly, for damages or things that maybe that they shouldn't be held accountable to because it was there when they first moved in. So again, doesn't matter. Sometimes people just have bad memories, or they have conveniently bad memories. I don't know. Either way, that the videos do definitely help with that. A lot of this stuff I do talk about in the Time Wealthy Investor 2.0. If you are looking to get a copy of it for free, you can go to here at landlordcoach.com/videos, and you can get some free download stuff there. There's also there's some other stuff in there. I'm not going to go through it. You can check it out if you're interested. But also really quick before I head out, because we're going to wrap this up, and put a bow on it. If you are interested, I have a live event coming down the pipeline in Atlanta. You can go to landlordcoach.com/events, and I've got some other stuff that's going to be coming down there too. So if you're watching this in a month's time, I'm going to have other videos or other events that's going to be posted there as well. Right now, I've got one in Atlanta. That's going to be April 30th and May 1st. I've got some time available. So that is all I have for today, and I am going to go ahead and wrap this up because I want to go home and put this day to bed. So please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome day, and I will see you guys next time.